Hello everybody. Today we are looking at 9.3, which is all about rotations. So what a rotation is it is a rigid motion or an isometry, so it will not change the size or the shape of any of our figures, okay? So in middle school, we called this a turn. We turned a figure around a point. And now we're going to graduate to using that rotation vocabulary. So if we look here at this example, I can tell that triangle ABC is my pre-image, and that triangle A prime, B prime, C prime is my image. Because again, we have that prime notation, which lets me know that that is the changed figure. All right? So I am rotating triangle ABC about point P. So P is called my center of rotation. The angle of rotation is how far I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to rotate this 120 degrees. So that means if I draw the angle between A, P, and A prime, this is going to be a 120 degree angle. If I were to draw the angle between B, P, and B prime, that would also be a 120 degree angle. If I drew the angle between C, P, and C prime, this is also going to be a 120 degree angle. So every angle that we're going to draw between the image, your center of rotation, and your pre-image, when we're drawing this angle, all three of those angle measures, or however many you have, are going to be the same. One of the things that I want to make sure that I highlight here, and it is highlighted on your notes underneath this image, is that if you are not told specifically which direction to rotate, it will always be counterclockwise. All right, this is really important. Again, it's highlighted on your notes, but I want you to kind of star it, make sure you understand that if I just tell you to rotate something 90 degrees, that rotation is going to be counterclockwise, which is this rotation here. All right? If you have any questions on that, go ahead and write that down. The next thing that we're going to highlight is I want you to understand that if I'm drawing that angle AP, prime, all right, the segment AP and the segment A prime, P prime are also going to be the same. Okay, because they're staying the same distance around point P. It's not getting closer, it's not getting farther away. Whenever we're rotating, everything moves the exact same amount, kind of in a circle. All right, so nothing's going to get closer to that center of rotation, so these segments are going to be congruent. All right? So let's take a look at example 1. We want to know whether or not each image appears to be a rotation. All right, so if we look at part A, it looks like this little triangle L shape is being turned this way, around this point. So this point right here at the top is going to be my center of rotation, and I'm rotating counterclockwise. So we're going to say yes, this looks like it's a rotation, and we're going to say the figure is turned. So again, we're only going to use the word turned when we're doing a problem like this, because we don't want to say, yes, it appears to be rotated because the figure is rotated. That doesn't really make sense. It's like answering a question with a question. So in a case like this, we do need to use the word turn to show like we understand what that rotation means. All right? Part B, we're looking to see this is a rotation. And you should notice pretty quickly that we're not turning this figure. This is actually a reflection. So no, this is a reflection, is how we're going to answer this one. All right, if you have any questions on that, go ahead and write it down now. So what we're going to look at here is rules for rotation in a coordinate plane. Again, all of these are going counterclockwise. Okay, this is important to know. this is always, always, always going to be a counterclockwise rotation. So please make this note in here just to remind yourself on this side of the page as well. All right, so let's take an example, 0.37. If I'm rotating this point 90 degrees, again, that 90-degree rotation is counterclockwise. The way that I'm going to rotate this is I'm going to take my y, I'm going to make it negative, and I'm going to move it to the front. So my y is 7. I'm going to make it negative, so -7, and it's now in the front. And then I move my x to the back and leave it alone. All right, so this becomes -y, x. If I'm going to rotate this a full 180 degrees, all I'm going to do is negate both x and y. So this becomes -3, -7. Notice I'm leaving this in the same order, just changing their signs. For a 270-degree rotation, this is going to be y -x. So I'm bringing my y forward, but I'm not going to change its sign. So I'm bringing 7 forward. And then I'm going to negate my x and move it to the back. So this is going to become a -3. All right, so this is how we're going to use these rotation rules. And I would highly suggest that you do memorize them. It's going to make your life a lot easier. One thing that you can always do, and I recommend that you take the point like 3-1, something that's not in a middle, it's close to an edge, but it's not like 1-1 or 2-2 or 3-3 because that's not going to help you. But if you take the 0.31, graph it on just a scratch piece of paper, all right, you can turn your paper 90 degrees counterclockwise to see where that point should end up. So if you were, let's say we graphed the 0.37, when we turn a paper, we can see that that 3,7 moves to -7,3. If I were to rotate it another 90 degrees so that it's a total degree of 180, I would see it, you can see it move. So guys, I want to make sure that you understand that you don't have to, you can take this the easy way. Okay, so by doing that, you graph the original figure and then actually rotate the entire image. All right, turn your paper and you can see, hey, am I doing this correctly? So we're going to kind of look at an example of that here in just a second, and I'll show you what I mean. So example 2, I want to rotate 90 degrees about the origin. All right, and I want to graph, or I want to rotate triangle ABC. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to graph triangle ABC. So A is at the point 2, -1. Okay, B is at the point 4, 1. And C is at the point 3, 3. So here is my pre-image, and we're going to go ahead and graph this. All right. So there's my pre-image of triangle ABC. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate it 90 degrees about the origin. So what I can do is I'm going to look at my original point, XY, is going to map onto, now my 90-degree rotation rule is -y, x. So my original point A, again, is 2, -1. Point B is 4, 1. And point C is 3, 3. So now we're going to find our A prime, B prime, and C prime points. So I'm going to negate my Y. So my Y here is a -1. So I'm going to change this sign to a +1 and bring it forward. Remember, this doesn't always mean that it's going to be negative. It means we're changing the sign. All right, and then my X just comes to the back. So this is going to be 1, 2 for A prime. Again, I'm going to negate my Y, which means I'm changing the sign and bringing it to the front. So I'm going to have -1 for my new X value. My 4 goes to the back. C, my Y value is 3. I'm going to change the sign and bring my X value to the back. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to graph these points. All right, so I'm going to graph 1, 2, and this is A prime. I'm going to graph -1, 4, and this is now B prime. And I'm going to graph -3, 3, which is now C prime. And we're going to connect these points. So what I really like for you guys to do is to just go ahead and shade your final image, because what's going to be nice is when we start doing multiples, okay, so we didn't really worry about it in the last ones, but I want you to go ahead and start getting in a habit of you kind of shade the image so I can clearly tell which one is the pre-image and which one is the image. All right, so we're going to start shading in our final images. All right, so if there's any questions on that, I want you to let me know. Now, what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how you can check your work. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually erase my image. Don't erase it on your paper because I just want to show you something. If I look here, and I'm going to just take another picture of this real quick. All right. If I put my triangle back, I'm going to move this here real quick. So I'm going to put A prime, B prime, C prime back real quick. All right, A is 1, 2, B is -3, 3, oh, that was C, and -1, 4. Okay, so this was my A prime, B prime, C prime. Look what happens. If I take this, and this is your paper, and I just turn my paper 90 degrees. If I treat this as my new X and Y, do you see 1, 2? 1, 2, there's A prime. -1, 4, there's B prime. -3, 3, that's my C prime. These match. So that's one way that you can check to make sure that you're doing your work correctly is by literally turning your paper. Okay, 90 degrees or 100 degrees or 270 degrees, whatever the case may be. All right, so turn your paper to help you see these rotations. All right, promise it'll make your life a lot easier. All right, let's look at another example. And if you have questions on that one, go ahead and write them down. All right, but let's take a look at the next example. Our next example, we want to use a 270 degree rotation. All right, so we see they've actually graphed the image for us. And they've already written our rule. So it's y -x for 270. All right, so let's go ahead and finish graphing or finish figuring out where our points are. So I'm going to move my y forward. So my y is 2. All I'm doing is moving it forward. Then I'm going to negate my x and put it in the back. Okay, so I'm leaving my y alone, but I'm moving it forward. So 4 is up front, negating my x and putting it in the back. All right, my y is 2, moving it forward. Now, again, we cannot negate a 0. 0 just stays 0. So we just move that to the back. All right. Now, I want to go ahead and actually be smart about this one and grab the picture ahead of time. So I'm going to move this off to the side, and we'll pull it back in just a minute. So let's go ahead and graph my rotation. All right, so I'm going to graph 1, -3. So 1, -3 right here. 2, -4. So 2, -4. 4, -1. 4, -1. And 2, 0 right here. So I'm going to go ahead and connect those points. All right, so again, we can check our work by actually turning our paper. Here's 90, 180, 270. Do these match? Yes, they do. All right, so again, turning your paper is a great way to check your work. All right? Any questions on that? If you do, go ahead and write them down right now. For this next one, what I want you guys to do is to try this on your own. I want you to look and see what's happening. Find the coordinate of A, find the coordinate of A prime, and tell me if you can come up with the rule that is mapping A onto A prime. Then I want you to see, okay, what rule does that match? Tell me what angle I'm actually rotating. So go ahead and pause your video and try this on your own. All right, so if we look, point A has the coordinates of 3, -2. A prime has the coordinates of 2, 3. So what did I do from A to get to A prime? Well, my 2 is in the back, and I brought it to the front, and I changed the sign. So that's a -y. And then I just moved my x value to the back. So that's this. So this is my rule, is -y, x. And that is a rotation of 90 degrees counterclockwise. All right, if you have any questions on that, go ahead and write them on your notes and be sure to ask me in class. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later.